moving while Tara played Let's Kill Dwight at every opportunity. Father Gabriel and Dr. Carson went on a road trip that sadly ended with the good doctor getting shot, and also with Gabriel back in the survivor's clutches. So what does this mean for the resident bullet maker, Eugene? And just how effective will Negan's disgusting and terrifying plan be to use this biological warfare on everyone at the hilltop? On tonight's show, we have interviews with the cast, including ones with Josh McDermott and Seth Gilliam. We're going to go behind the scenes to see how they rigged that bear trap to snag Dr. Carson, and we're going to get a closer look at those rotted fungi walkers. Fungi? I say fungi. Plus, we have an exclusive sneak peek of next week's episode. My guest tonight, comedian, superfan, my good friend Steve Agee, co-executive producer of The Walking Dead, Denise Huth, and our surprise cast member is our Keith Harris, a.k.a. the dearly departed Dr. Carson. I'm Chris Hardwick, and this is Talking Dead. There's a good whistler out there. The conversation's just beginning. What do you want to know after watching tonight's episode? How you feeling? Tweet us at AMC Talking Dead. Call us toll free at 855-332-3548. That's 1-855-DEAD-LIVE. And go to TalkingDead.com/playdead to vote in our polls and play in our quiz. Please say hello to my guests, Steve Agee, R. Keith Harris, and Denise Huth. So, Keith, we were able to fool people last week, but the surprise guest did actually die on the show this week. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How did you learn about poor Dr. Carson's fate?
Well, it's kind of funny. There's a buddy of mine, Brett Gentile. He played Freddy on the show. He came on the same episode I did, and he was killed off earlier in the season. And I was talking to him. We talked periodically, and he said he told me that he'd gotten the call from him, and I was like, man, that's really classy, man. That's nice. And so I'm sitting in my kitchen one night, and I get this, look down at my phone, there's this 310 number coming in. I'm like, hello? And he's like, hey, this is Scott. And I'm like,
they can't kill,
so
they can't kill you if you don't answer.
I know. So inside, I'm going, shut up, don't you say it. And then inside, outside, I'm just going, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I understand.
I'm going to kill you on my show. How about that?
Yeah. So,
well, were you ever given a backstory for Dr. Carson at all?
No.
He was a doctor.
That's right. I was a doctor. That's what I knew.
This is why I had you on, Steve.
Yeah.
You're going to answer the hard questions.
I was a doctor. That's right. So medical school and
some other stuff.
You had a brother.
That's right. I did have a brother, and I dug into the Wikipedia breakdown of all the graphic novels, and
right.
So I had known about the existence of a brother. I just didn't know who it was going to be.
Denise, why was it so important? I mean, it seems like there was very much a spirituality versus agnosticism, science versus religion kind of a theme in this episode. So why was that important to explore between Gabriel and Dr. Carson?
Well, I think it was really important for Gabriel because we've seen him change so much since we first met him. When he first came on and met our group, he was in a huge crisis of faith. He had done some very bad things, and he's come full circle. With our group, he's really come around, and he does have very strong faith. We saw in 801 him praying before they headed out for the first attack. And this is the first time we've actually seen him outside of the sanctuary since that episode.
Right.
Since he ended up trapped there. And he has discovered his purpose, which is the thing Gabriel really wants. He wants to have a purpose. He wants to have use. He doesn't fear dying. He just fears being useless, and he wants to make up for what he's done in the past.
Right.
And he's definitely decided that saving Dr. Carson and getting Dr. Carson to Maggie is the whole reason why he was in that position in the first place, why he was in the sanctuary, why he survived the sanctuary.
Oops, then.
It was going really well. He was kind of right. There were all these things happening. Terrible things happened, like the bear trap. Sorry about that. But they found the cabin. They found antibiotics. They found a map. They found keys. It really, there was a great lightness to Gabriel in this episode into the story. He kind of wore Dr. Carson down and made him believe that maybe there is a higher power and that they could survive this.
Yeah.
And then just as Dr. Carson was like, I think I'm bam, and then down.
It happened and it happened.
What can you tell us about Father Gabriel's worsening condition?
He's definitely not doing well, clearly, with the eyes. And he's very sick. He's been sick ever since he and Negan gutted up back in episode 5.
So it was the guts. It was sort of a septic shock type of a thing?
The science, we never really know.
Sure.
Not really understanding how the zombies occurred in the first place in this world, but it makes sense. It's interesting. I always loved in that episode back in 805 where Negan says to him when they're starting to do it, haven't any of your people ever gotten sick doing this? So, that was certainly an indication that Negan has seen that happen. And,
right.
It's a question mark. We know we've definitely seen it's a rule. If you get bit, you're going to, and it doesn't get chopped off like Herschel, you're going to get sick, you're going to die, you're going to turn. What happens when that guts gets in your eyes or in your mouth or in an open
I'm so glad you addressed that.
You don't know.
Because it was, from very early on, people would go, Hey, why don't you just cover yourself in them zombie guts and walk through the, like, why don't they do that all the time? So it's important to show this is why you don't do it all the
Absolutely.
time.
I mean, we've seen it work, but you think about it. I mean, these are dead bodies.
I mean, it is a lot like smearing poop on your face.
It's
just for the...
It might be worse. It might be worse.
What's the problem with that?
You mean
What's a hug?
Well, imagine what they smell like.
Oh, it didn't even get in my mouth. But now, then, of course, now a heavy question after all the poop talk. But, Steve, like, watching the aftermath and seeing everyone's reaction to Carl's death at the hilltop, did you have any feelings about that?
First, I was like, oh, yeah, Carl's dead. Because for us, it was like 2 episodes ago. For these people, though, it's like they're just now finding out.
Yeah, they're just finding out.
It was a bummer. And for a second, I was also like, when Negan found out, I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a heart.
He does have a little bit of a
Which
heart.
should also be taken out very soon.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, so did the audience. Yeah. Who's with me? That lady.
Negan's a bad guy, Chris.
He's not good. Unless you're following his story, and then he's the protagonist, but we're not doing that. This is the act one. Just this Bravo Wacky on Twitter says, Steve, do you think Carltopia, that sort of idea that everyone can live peacefully together, can be reached? Can truly Carltopian society exist in the aftermath of the war against Negan?
Absolutely not. There's zombies everywhere.
That part.
We can't do it in this world. How can they do it in a fantasy world?
That's a very fair point. It's a very fair point.
Bad guy.
Again, Steve coming up with the hard points that everyone's too afraid to say out loud.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have interviews with the cast, including ones with Seth Gilliam and Alana Masterson, a behind-the-scenes look at the mushroom sprouting walkers, and later, an exclusive sneak peek of next week's episode. But first, let's slow things down and say a final farewell to all of those we lost tonight.
That episode was definitely a roller coaster of a ride for Father Gabriel. Gabriel mentions the possibility, of hope, and then something appears. And it's just example after example that God is still with us, that there is still hope, that there is still purpose. And then to wind up where he does wind up back in the hand of Negan and the Saviors, I'm interested to see just what that does for Father Gabriel, because he'd had so many things going his way, proving his point to himself, and to have it unspool like that at the end, I wonder what's going to be left of old Father Gabriel.
Welcome back to Talking Dead. That was Seth Gilliam contemplating what's next for Father Gabriel. We're back, obviously, with Keith and Denise and Steve. So just a reaction to Father Gabriel. R.C. Gabney on Twitter says, Gabriel's journey has been incredible to watch, from his start as a coward and a pain to a snitch to a loyal warrior. This has been a testament to the actor's abilities. No Line Natural on Twitter says, Father Gabriel out here giving new meaning to the phrase, to walk by faith, not by sight. And Jaded Viewer on Twitter said, if Gabriel goes blind, can he daredevil his way into survival? Probably not. Daredevil's got some powers. But it'd be kind of fun to see how he develops in that world. Otherwise, Keith, do you think Father Gabriel will have guilt over Dr. Carson's death?
Oh, I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was interesting, I think Seth played it in a wonderful way. As, he was driving off, that sadness on his face. I definitely think he'll have some baggage.
So here's a reaction to how all the doctors are dead. That actually bummed me out for the show. I'm like, you just killed what the... although Sadiq seems to have some medical training. But this is killing all the doctors reaction. Sly Payne on Twitter said, they love killing the doctors off on The Walking Dead. Jessica92 Rose says, why is it the doctors that die? Jesse Merle 80 says, well, that was not what the doctor ordered. JCR Morgan on Twitter said, we're losing doctors as fast as we are losing Judith's babysitters. That's points to that.
That is great.
Well done.
Honestly. So, Denise, what does it mean that the Saviors have killed all the doctors, basically?
Yeah, not a good call, definitely. Doctors definitely don't seem to do very well in this world, and, it was sort of an accidental killing. I think Negan would probably be pretty pissed about it. Doctors are valuable. I think we feel their loss on the show a little bit more than every other character necessarily, because you do need them. We know Maggie's pregnant. People get sick. People get injured. Father Gabriel needed him. It's a problem for sure that they keep taking these chances, and it's just, again, Saviors are a little gun happy, and something happens and they automatically kill him, and you hear the guy say, that's the doctor, that's our ass, but they just dump him off into the truck and drive away. They keep going. It's a little bit reckless.
Well, there was a little bit of a Daredevil movement. What was your reaction when Gabriel just blindly shoots up like a perfect kill shot on a walker to save Dr. Carson?
I was like, oh my God, maybe there is a God.
Keith, what was it like for you seeing the walker in the cabin up close?
Oh, that was great. That was a really neat special effect that they did. Because they're not going to take some poor, extra and strap a bag on his head with water. It was they had him laying under the bed, and his head was bent back underneath the bed, and then they had this kind of bust that they put together with a mechanical head in it.
Yeah.
And they strapped him on it. It was just the special effects.
Yeah, and I also can we please have a huge hand for the Walker extras on the show?
Yeah.
Number one, their characters are literally the title of the show, depending on how you look at it. And they, the conditions that they endure, especially in the swamp walker scene, the conditions the extras do, they're shooting in the summer, they're covered in appliances, and they still have to be convincing. And it is an incredible job that really an incredible job.
And it's hard. I think there's a perception that, anybody can be a walker. I have people tell me all the time, I want to be a walker. I'm like, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Oh, I know.
It's just, and they commit and they do such a great job and really want to get performance. We do even, the one that I really like is at the beginning with you guys. It's crawling along the ground, and he was great. Just like the way he moved his body and everything. The camera's right there, and it's a tough thing to do. By nature, we act human, so
of course,
to go in and have movements that don't feel human-like. Our extras are awesome.
Well, little note too on that is they actually cast actual amputees.
Yeah, that
for
gentleman
when they actually
That's incredible.
Yeah,
well, everyone did an incredible job. And every year, Nicotero's like, "Come on, we'll make you up. We'll turn you into a zombie." I'm like, "I've been through that makeup process before. I don't think I would last too long out of that Georgia heat.
Georgia heat.
Yeah,
no joke.
But maybe season 9's the year. I don't know. But let's talk about Father Gabriel for a second. Is his heart? Is he just ruined at the end of this episode?
He's definitely really, really devastated. As Seth said in the package, he was motivated. He was feeling like there was a sense, and he had that purpose, and he had a lightness, and it all comes crashing down in an instant. And Dr. Carson has died, and that's was his purpose, is to save this man and to bring him to Maggie. And we know Gabriel with the struggles that he's had with his faith. The last time he really lost his faith in God, he locked out all of his parishioners from his church.
Right.
So he knows that, he's struggling with that. It will be a struggle for him to come back from this.
Well, it's interesting because there's this real kind of emotional fulcrum that's happening between the two of them. Like there's in here, and then on one side you have Gabriel, on the other side, you have Dr. Carson. And Dr. Carson, and they both kind of, by the end of the episode, they both come to the middle, where Carson is like, oh, okay, maybe it's not all science. And now Gabriel is like, hey, maybe, his faith seems to be shaken.
His faith is definitely shaken.
But right now it's time to see how carefully you paid attention to tonight's episode of The Walking Dead and get ready to take our quiz live. When we come back, we have an interview with Josh McDermott. More info about how you watching at home could join us on this very couch here on the Talking Dead set and a behind-the-scenes look at the fungus-filled walkers. Also the sneak peek of next week's episode. But right now, here's the quiz. May the best fan win. Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, quiz!
Eugene likes to be in control, or at least have knowledge of everything. And when he doesn't have knowledge of everything, he feels helpless. So to see Father Gabriel come back in, and he's sick, and he's going blind, and he's, this is not a good situation for him. What does Negan know? Is it going to get traced back to me? That I dropped the keys? I told them how to get out? Did Father Gabriel rat Eugene out? Like, these are all questions going on in his mind.
That was Josh McDermott on all the fears Eugene lives with. We're back on Talking Dead. Steve Agee, Keith Harris, Denise Huth. Denise, does Negan have any inkling that Eugene helped Gabriel escape?
I don't think so. I think he's suspicious at first when he asked the question to see if he can get a reaction out of Eugene. But he has his theory that it was Carson, and when Gabriel is captured in the end and says it was Carson, it affirms what Negan believed to be true. So I don't think he's overly suspicious of him, especially by the end.
Yeah.
He thinks Eugene is loyal.
Steve, how are you feeling about Eugene these days? Making bullets for the saviors and suggesting catapulting rotten body parts.
Really not cool with that, Chris.
Do you think he has some sort of a double agent plan, or do you think he's just a savior?
I can't tell with it.
I can't tell
cannot
either.
tell with that guy.
No.
He's so weird.
Yeah.
By the way, it's weird hearing him talk in his little
like
interviews
Eugene.
there like a normal person.
Yeah. He doesn't just talk like this all the time.
Yeah, it's weird.
Keith, what made Dr. Carson reach for the savior's gun?
I think, by nature, I think what he does is manage risk. And so when all these serendipitous God moments were happening throughout the film, I think he got to a point at the end when that moment presented himself and the risk seemed not as bad.
Well, yeah, because he's just going to get taken back. He's just going to get taken back
Right.
and then essentially be a prisoner, like
Right.
a prisoner doctor again.
Exactly.
So it seemed like it was worth it.
Yeah.
It didn't play out
No,
well,
it did not.
but
No, it did not.
it was a good shot. Now we want to find out what you guys think at home. Go to talkingdead.com/playdead and let us know. Was Morgan right to lie to Henry about who killed his brother? Yes, he's only a child, or no, he's old enough to know it's the apocalypse. So everyone's voting. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That kid is so creepy. Do whatever you can to placate that kid.
Yeah, because he's just watching Jarrett. Like,
Oh yeah.
he's just watching the whole time. I mean, Jared. Sooner or later, Jared's like, someone's just gonna take that guy out. I think.
for sure.
I would imagine. 86% say yes. 86% say yes. Absolutely, Denise. Why do Carol and Morgan keep the truth from Henry?
I think because he is a child, which I actually really love because, these characters have been through it so much and the world is so harsh, and Carol and Morgan in particular have done some pretty brutal things themselves, but they do have an awareness this is a child and this is what we're protecting, and I think it sort of reinforces the idea this is what we're fighting for. I think our characters a lot of times gets very caught up in who are we going to kill? We got to kill each other, got to kill each other, got to kill each other. And so when you have that moment of like, this is a kid, he's already killed once. If they tell him he's going to have his second kill, or he could end up killed in the process. If we're not protecting these children, why are we fighting in the first place?
Right. We have a caller. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Marissa, and I'm calling from Tecumseh, Michigan.
Hello.
My question is actually for me. Hello there.
Hey.
I was just wondering, what was it like filming Daryl's return to the hilltop?
What was it like filming Daryl's return to the hilltop?
Oh, that was a great scene. We always love when the actors actually get to be together.
Right.
They've been so split up this year. So, I thought it was really beautiful. I love that there really wasn't dialogue. It was just this, they come in as these sort of weary, refugees who've made it from Alexandria. And, it's such a beautiful, I love Michael Satrazemis is the one who directed this episode. He's been with the show since the beginning, and I adore him. And, he knows these actors so well. And it's one of those moments where the group from Alexandria comes in and they're just so defeated. And the group in the Hilltop are so excited to see them. And you just see it register on their faces that something horrible has happened. So it's very bittersweet. They're united, but they've suffered just an unthinkable loss.
Let's go to the internet. If you seek 13 on Twitter says, Steve, could Morgan have been seeking a replacement for his son? Should he continue to train and mentor Henry after this?
You just need to lock Henry up. You don't need to train that kid anymore. He already knows how to kill.
I wonder if it's going to be the kind of thing where, because Maggie's drawn some pretty hard lines in the sand, so if she finds out that he's a little murder bot, like she might she might just. I wouldn't put it past her to just sort of like point him in the right direction eventually and be like, yeah, go do what you do.
Her little hitman.
Yeah, well, because you can't. It's very difficult to be a child in this world.
It is.
You know, and Carl almost went down that path, and he was able to. You know, I think Michonne really pulled him out of that nosedive. But but it seems like they really are in the midst of a war. So
it's tricky because there's definitely, think back to Carol at the prison. She was teaching kids how to use weapons.
Right.
You know, there's something to be said for a child does need to know how to protect itself.
Right.
But there's also something to be said for the kid going, who killed my brother? Because I'm gonna take that guy out.
And then because then the next step is Lizzie. You know,
Yeah.
then it's look at the flowers.
Avoid Lizzie.
Coming up, a behind-the-scenes look at the fungi. I say fungi because I took Latin for 4 years, but somebody like, it's fungi. So we're both right. We're going to see how they built up that bear trap to snag Dr. Carson, interview with Alana Masterson, and a sneak peek of next week's episode of The Walking Dead. We will be right back. Welcome back to Talking Dead. I am Chris Hardwick. Are you ready to go inside the dead? Here's some inside info from tonight's episode that you can't get anywhere else. Check this out.
Roll over there and then you push him back.
Today we are at this fabulous little house. Gabriel and Dr. Carson come upon this cabin that ends up having some supplies for them. But as always, there's complications and some zombies outside waiting for them.
They've got these bear traps and they're hidden amongst these weeds and everything else. So running around in it, and like we call it Bear Trap Alley, does feel kind of perilous as the actor.
The bear traps are really cool. I love that we're doing it. We haven't seen a lot of this in the show, and it kind of makes sense that this guy, whoever he was, set up this cabin and laid these traps out.
We decided to sort of take various designs of bear traps and put them together and create our own hybrid. We have two different styles. We're calling this Jaws and this one Bear. This one worked for us for Dr. Carson because we could put his leg into this little gap here. Imagine that this is impaling his leg.
That'll be great.
The walkers today are extra cool. We get a little jaded down here because we get to see these cool walkers all the time. And today, the makeup effects team did a phenomenal job, and they knocked it out of the park with the mushrooms growing out of their skin, and they look so cool.
The mushrooms were created back at K&B Studios. We had a sculptor that actually sculpted them, molded them. We had 3 or 4 different sizes, and they molded them. Got some latex, polyfoam. That's kind of fun. Do something a little different.
When you see the crew go, wow, did you see the walkers today? We know we got some extra special ones.
Welcome back to Talking Dead. That was behind the scenes look at tonight's episode. We're back with Steve, Keith, and Denise. How was the bear trap? Was it fun?
I love the bear trap. I mean, actors have, different ways to prep. For me, I like script analysis and all that stuff, but the cherry on top, especially coming up through theater, was always the character's shoes that just gave that little grounding bit. And for me, that bear trap was kind of like getting that little cherry on top. Really obviously grounded you in the scene. So
There were so many great walkers this episode. But Denise, does anything gross you out anymore, or are you just totally desensitized?
The walkers not usually, because I can see, the makeup team putting them together, so I get that. But I did have a moment in this episode. There's a shot, and it's a very tight shot, and it's Father Gabriel when he's trying to get to Carson after he's been trapped, and it's just his foot sort of grazing the edge of one of the traps. And I knew the traps weren't real. I knew nothing was going to happen, but I totally flinched. I was just like, oh, that was close,
Yeah.
Don't step on that, dude. So anything that sort of is part of the story of what could actually happen to us does freak me out.
Steve, would you follow Daryl through a swamp filled with walkers?
No, and not because of swamp zombies, but because I'm afraid of alligators and water moccasins and leeches. But I do want to know why there were so many walkers in the swamp. Why would they just walk into a swamp? Or were there a bunch of people just swimming around in a swamp who then died and became walkers? Why were they swimming in a swamp?
Well, maybe they went out there and they're like, the zombies can't get us out here, and then they died.
Maybe.
Or maybe someone threw their bodies, maybe it was Maybe they got shot in the swamp, but not in the head. Maybe.
What else? What else?
Maybe the swamp formed around them after a rain, Steve.
Okay.
So,
but Negan's
suck
still
on
bad,
that.
right?
Still bad. Negan's still bad. Negan's still bad, and you still like poop on your face.
Who wants a hug?
We did it. We did a poll during the commercial. Would you wade through a walker-infested swamp? 71% said sure. 29% said no way. Here's some more reactions from around the internet. Rick's Zombie Girl on Twitter says, OMG, these swamp walkers are beautiful. JansRS12 on Twitter says, I'm expecting to see Yoda Walker at the swamp. And then Very Sweet Smile on Twitter said, let's go to the swamp, said no one ever. So that's true. Yeah, I mean, it is. It was such an incredible, every year it's how are you, like, what different types of situations can people die in so then you guys can create these.
The writers keep coming up with these amazing locations and ideas of how they can hide a walker. It's incredible.
So C. Marie S. on Facebook says, Denise, how were you able to create the scene where they're in the swamp water? Was it on a set or was that just in nature?
It was kind of both. We actually did create this swamp. It was a section of the woods there at our studio in Sonoy that we've shot on a million times in these woods. But it was tricky. It was one of those things of, is the water deep enough? Is the water safe enough? There's all these factors that go into a sequence like this. And Mike Satrazemis had some pretty big shots he wanted to do. So there is a lake in our backlot, and they took the water from that lake and sort of put down a lining and created this whole giant swamp set. And once we were done, they drained it, and now it's woods again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, our art department, it's bananas. It's bananas what they can do. It's incredible.
I have some fun stuff I want to show you guys. So first of all, this is the Daryl Dixon Chibi-inspired socks, plus a Daryl bow and arrow bracelet that was developed by the fans for the fans, courtesy of BioWorld. Both of these are available at shopthewalkingdead.com. And I don't know if I should give these to you guys this episode. Because of your whistle. Yes. Oh my God. These are great. You can wade through a swamp in these Daryl socks. Coming up, we have an update on our search for the next Ultimate Fan interview with Alana Masterson and a sneak peek of next week's episode. But first, it's time for the Subway Fan Bite. Here's how moments from tonight's episode could have played out just a little bit differently. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Subway. Make it what you want.
I think at this point in time, Tara's still very upset with Dwight and Negan and his entire group. She associates Dwight as one of them, no matter what. Even if he's turning sides, she can't forgive him, and she lures him into these woods to basically take him out. And he does the right thing and ends up saving her, and she starts to feel like maybe that there is good in this person because he did something right for her. I think for her, being so angry at Dwight, when he does have a moment of redemption, I think it hits home to her, and I think she realizes that there is good in people, and everyone can always change.
Welcome back to Talking Head. That was Alana Masterson on Tara's realization that maybe Dwight has changed for the better. We're back with Steve, Keith, and Denise. But now, let's let someone in the audience come up and ask a question. So get on up here and ask your question.
My name's Jennifer.
Jennifer, welcome.
All right, my question's for everyone.
Okay.
If you were running the hilltop, would you have killed Gregory by now?
Yes.
Well, I would say, I think, being a doctor, he takes his do no harm seriously, but he would probably go along with kicking him out of the hilltop.
Yeah, what do you think, Denise?
Yeah, God, I think I would. He just, I really do. He's, she has him locked up. He's not doing any harm at the moment, but he's pretty wily. I don't know that I would.
That's a nice way to say he's a dick.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I don't know. I don't really see any purpose in his role anymore. I think I would kill him.
Okay, well, just for that, I have a very special thing for you, Jennifer. Well, it could be Gregory's leg, but it's probably your leg. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close to your leg. Did you fly here or do you live locally?
I live locally.
Okay, good. You don't have to worry about getting this through TSA. So you can take that home. There you go. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for being here. what's going to happen now that Dwight is back with the Saviors?
I don't know. I get the impression he's okay since when he met up with that search party, they gave him a gun right away and were like, hey, good to see you, man.
Yeah.
But it was really weird that when Negan was doing his little thing, putting his bat inside the walker and getting his, like, Dwight just like pushed his way right up to the front. Like, I would have been hiding in the back. Like,
well, he's still got it because one Savior did get away, so one Savior does know that he's not on their side anymore. So I would imagine it would behoove him to try to find that person, and take him out so that it doesn't spoil everything. This is Dwight Tara Reactions. Got to have faith on Twitter says Tara just threw some actual shade at Dwight. Honey Bunches on Twitter says I wouldn't trust Dwight as far as Gabriel can see. That was a turnaround on that joke. That was really well done. Now we want to find out what you guys think at home. Go to talknet.com/playdead and let us know. What is your reaction to Negan's gored-up weapons plan? This is definitely biological warfare in this world. Do you think, can't wait, I want to see if it works, or don't do it? Didn't Negan say people are a resource? Well, everyone's voting. What can you tell us about this biological warfare threat?
You know, it's kind of cool. It's one of we've certainly seen walkers used as weapons before. Different characters have used them in different ways, and it's one of those things. You know, I love when Negan kind of comes up with this with Eugene's sort of crazy pitch that he doesn't really know what's going to happen.
Right.
But he's so gleeful about it that it's like he's found the coolest new toy in the world, and he just can't wait to see what it's going to do. So it's, you know, Negan's always an interesting guy. People are a resource. He does want to save them, but it's escalating. Things keep getting worse, and if he can take a few out this way in very dramatic fashion, we know Negan likes his theatrics. So to see how this will work or if it will work, I think he's just excited about the prospect.
Well, let's see. That 60% said can't wait. 60% said can't wait. 40% said don't do it. Coming up, we have that sneak peek of next week's episode and an update on our search for the ultimate fan. But first, please send in your fan art and cosplay photos to fanart@talkdead.tv for a chance to see your art featured on this show, like this amazing fan. We'll be right back.
We're the Cruz Twins from Callahan, Florida, and we're on day 67 of the apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Angela Queen, PE and math teacher, Mattoon High School, Mattoon, Illinois. I am the ultimate Walking Dead fan.
855 Dead Live. So glad.
Thanks, Chris. The reason I'm the ultimate fan,
I cosplay as King Ezekiel. I've been to conventions all over the U.S.
I moderate an online fan site, and I'm a huge memorabilia collector.
I'm coming to your barbecue. I'm making cookies instead.
The Walking Dead has been my entire life since it started.
I am not in love with Negan anymore. I'm back with Daryl. I love motorcycles, so Daryl is the one for me.
This is what I've learned and loved about watching The Walking Dead. If somebody's slower than you, trip them. Always have spaghetti on a Tuesday. Learn Aikido. Keep your eye on the prize.
Oh my God, those are so good! Those are so good! We're getting very close to naming the ultimate Walking Dead fan. I would actually watch that puppet version of Talking Dead. But right now, you're running out of time. Submit a video of your own. Go to talknet.com. Let us know who you like the most, and then keep sending in your new videos. And it's also funny to watch that lady flip-flopping. Every season it was Daryl, and then she went to Negan, and then she's back to Daryl. But now it's time for the exclusive sneak peek of next week's all-new episode of The Walking Dead. Here it is!
Negan's car. At least it was.
See him?
Yeah, someone pegged him good. Looked like just one guy from what I could tell.
anyone see which way he went?
Just tell him to pipe down. Stay icy. Maybe more of them out there.
Guards up. Scan your lane. We could have company. Oh, that was so good. I've seen a car chase. Oh, my God. But we don't know why Rick's chasing him. It could either be to hunt Negan down, or he's going to be like, wait, we got to swap insurance information. Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Man.
Can you tell us anything about next week's episode?
there's a lot of action, and things are heating up. Every episode, we're at that point in the season where every episode it just feels like the stakes are getting higher and higher, and the war is escalating for sure.
All right, this is from Marcus Valdez on Twitter. I think the question everyone wants to know, Steve, should there be a My Two Dads reboot for Judith with Rick and Negan?
No, Negan needs to die. He's a bad person.
All right, so your position is that he's a bad person. You think he's not a good guy?
Yeah, unless one of my two dads is dead and it's Negan. I'm cool with that.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry Dr. Carson died, but it was really lovely having you on the show, and thank you so much for being a part of our Walking Dead universe. Thank you for watching Talking Dead. I want to thank my guests, Steve Agee, R. Keith Harris, Denise Hooth. Also, be sure to catch Steve Agee performing with Zach Galifianakis March 16th at the Dynasty Typewriter at the Hayworth Theater in Los Angeles, a fantastic new comedy venue. And check out Keith's upcoming film Shifting Gears in theaters and on demand March 23rd. Next week, we're going to be joined by actor and superfan Andrew J. West. As you may remember from The Walking Dead, he played Gareth on a show called The Walking Dead. Yvette Nicole Brown will be here, and another surprise cast member. So did that person die? Did they not die? Who knows? You will have to watch to find out. Tomorrow, go to TalkingDead.com for a bonus segment plus highlights from tonight's show. But right now, stick around for an encore of The Walking Dead, followed by Comic Book Men. Kevin Smith's doing great. I was texting with him. He's all good. Love you, Kev. I'm Chris Hardwick, at Hardwick on the tweets and the Instagrams. Be nice to each other. Do not text and drive. I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.